Hello everybody. Welcome back to a brand new Toa Talk. I'm Ben, and here I got Zav back with me. He's been away for a little while.
It's
Um,
it's been a while.
yeah, been a little while. And today we're not going to get into a recap because, like, we all know why you're watching the video. We all know why you're here. There's not. Last time I checked, there's no videos talking about this on YouTube for whatever reason, but something I don't know, I guess this counts as like my Halloween video. Since my actual video that's gonna be on Halloween isn't like spooky related at all. But you want to know
I
like
mean,
the
it's scary
scariest
what's
thing?
happening in the
Yeah,
Bionicle community.
you want to know something that's like the most scary thing known to man?
Hit me with it.
Cringe, cringe. Nobody likes cringe, and we're gonna be talking about
Nope.
some cringe today. So for
Yep.
those that don't know the situation, like maybe they're a DuckBricks fan, they saw the title, they're like, "Why are you guys talking shit?" We're not. We're just trying to break down the situation, and then we'll talk about our opinions after. Um, Essentially, what has been happening is that for a while, DuckBricks. Well, I'll just talk about who DuckBricks is first, just to get Iron Lad out like 100%. DuckBricks is a pretty popular Lego YouTube channel. He primarily just talks about like Lego in general, but he does have Bionicle specific content, which isn't found a lot throughout a lot of modern Lego YouTubers. And he has about 100, as of recording this video, he has 100,000 or 169,000 subs, which is pretty really good, especially like if you're making Bionicle content. Like that's like Mr. Beast levels. Like that's in terms of Bionicle values.
I would say that of the YouTube space content creators who do anything Bionicle related, DuckBricks is definitely easily the biggest one. He's easily the most recognizable one. He has the best appeal. I think a lot of that comes from he's just a lot better articulated than a lot of the other, I guess you'd call them biotubers, and also his production values are way nicer as well. So he has a bit more of that influencer appeal that traditional YouTubers would have versus like the TTV, for example.
Yeah, exactly. He has a proper setup and all that, which is really cool. But you probably know him the most from his 9-hour Bionicle lore video where he breaks down all the Bionicle lore, or all at least all the semi-main events all into one video. Um, but for a little while now, he has joined forces with Bionicle co-creator Christian Faber, and if you don't know who Christian Faber is, he did a lot of groundwork for the first couple years of Bionicle. The Bionicle's art direction was was directed by him essentially. I don't know the official title that he had back then, but basically he was in charge of like how Bionicle looked, specifically G1. He had a pitch for G2 that they took, but they didn't have him included, so G2 was kind of like a result of him trying to revive the brand. And since then, he has been posting for 9 years. Ever since he started to post like the Chiraga files, which were like basically like voodoo heads or whatever the pre Bionicle was gonna be, like back in like the mid '90s, pretty much 30 years ago. And he's been releasing a lot of like Lego confidential like documents, art, photos, things like that, like videos. And he's been kind of like drip feeding the community for a few years. Like he's just been kind of like sitting on a lot of information, which is it's cool to see all the stuff come to light. And we'll get to that part later. But when DuckBricks visited his studio, he found a lot of the Bionicle documents, and they basically got talking. And the plan was to have DuckBricks release all the content, like periodically, phased out. And basically, with the latest documents or photos revealed, they showed off some 2009 prototypes of the Equatorian, specifically like Mata Nui and other things like that. But before that, they were talking about like old story concepts that were scrapped. They were pretty much the same as what we got, except like just a little bit different, just tweaked a little bit more. A lot more drawing from the Maori culture than initially, and obviously we all know how that turned out when just with the official stuff. So obviously stuff had to be changed, and basically Lego has found out that they have been leaking confidential content, and
Yeah,
more importantly, they've been making money off of the confidential content that's Lego property. I will say this now. I do think all those like prototypes and all those like old story like details, like those should all be public by now. Like it's been a long time since G1 has ended. Like a lot of these documents, especially like the pre 2001 stuff, are 30-year-old documents. We should have access to all those just as like a part of like a behind the scenes thing, just to see like some creative process behind it. It would just be cool as like a Bionicle fan to kind of see stuff like that, in my opinion.
of course, yeah.
But and even like prototypes, like obviously like I could see with like some prototypes maybe like when they were like kit bashing, they don't want some of that to be like public, specifically with like the 2005 prototypes, like those you can tell they were using a lot of like other like toys and things like that to bash that together. I'm sure legally it's fine, but I just don't think they would want to like post that. I get that. The 2009 prototypes look pretty much done. They were just like pieces that we never got, and I think those are cool for like customs and 3D printing and things like that to either replicate the prototypes or to use those prototype parts in new mocks or creations or anything like that. What's your opinion on all this stuff?
On I think there was a bit of a cutout with us happening right there. So what you're talking, just update me. You're talking about DuckBricks releasing the information with Faber, right?
Yeah,
And Lego retracting it.
just, yeah.
I think that like it should be released for a few reasons. So like for one, Bionicle is not a brand that generates any money anymore. It doesn't have honestly, the only thing that's probably valuable about Bionicle itself is the IP. And those prototypes are, well, they're prototypes for sets that already came out, that already went to market, and that have already sold 100%. There is no more money to be made off of those. I don't see how it would jeopardize anything about the brand, how it would jeopardize anything about Lego, unless there's like something that's super secretively tied to the design process of all Lego, which like, I don't know, there might be. Probably not, though.
Maybe for Bionicle, I guess. For everything else, Lego wise, it's just like making stuff with the bricks. You know?
Yeah,
you're
like
making
I don't.
parts. Like,
but like we already know how a lot of that stuff gets made. Like it first gets designed in the computer, then they cast a mold for it, and then that gets printed and stored and all this other stuff. But like it's weird to me. I guess it's still within that threshold of technically still being patented, if you will, because like. Let's branch over into the world of video games for a second, and I swear this is related. I know this sounds like a panenkoic. Now let's first talk about parallel universes or whatever he said, but I swear it's relevant. In the video game world, you'll see a lot of older titles get re-releases on original hardware. So, like for example. You'll see NES games like I think that they released. Oh geez, I don't even know off the top of my head. But anyways, they release NES games. They release new Super NES games. You're starting to see Nintendo 64 games. Oh yeah, for example, Disney licensed out to limited run games. Star Wars: The Shadow of the Empire, which was a game published on the Nintendo 64, and limited run games were able to basically reprint it on a different cartridge that is compatible with original hardware. And they're able to do that because after a certain threshold of time passes, companies can't really enforce the patent on basically on a product that they don't have in market anymore, and a product that they don't generate any profit off of. So like Nintendo owns the rights to the Nintendo 64, the rights to the Nintendo 64 branding, etc., etc. But since they don't really own the patent on the cartridges anymore, that means that just like anybody can make a cartridge. And you can release information about how these cartridges were made and how the games were developed for the cartridges, etc. Anybody who did that back in the day, that was a third party, is able to like release that stuff now because Nintendo doesn't make any money off of it anymore. It's a dead thing. So I don't really know how that how that works in relation to like toys, but if it's anything like that in the video game world, I'd assume that Bionicle's dead and buried. It's old. I mean, they maybe come out with a set every, well, like, gift with
I
purchase
mean,
Tahu and
yeah.
like a callback to it, but it's not. There's no money being made off of it, so I don't see why it would be so bad. Just to kind of throw the fans a bit of a bone, and like Faber's involvement in this, Faber's a very divisive character. He, like, of course, I have a lot of respect for him. He's basically one of like the founding fathers of what is my favorite toy. However, or at least a part of it, people speak about him like he's the Bionicle Messiah or something, and that he like created everything about Bionicle. Like he didn't. He had a very big role in it, but he's not like the singular Bionicle guy. There isn't a singular Bionicle guy. The Bionicle team was, from how I understand it, multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple people kind of working in unison to make Bionicle what it was. Some of them had more influence than the other. Faber had a big hand in it, but like I feel like Faber genuinely means well, and he wants to actively give the fans something. Like, he understands that there is a large community of people out there who still love that one thing that he had a very large hand in making, and he appreciates the community. That's a good thing, but man, the way he goes about it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is it's a little, and we'll I guess we'll, when we circle back to the DuckBricks thing, but it's a little like content farmy, if that makes any sense. Like,
No, I
I feel
agree.
like there's a good intention in there. It's just done in a kind of a questionable way. So like, I think that these should be released. I think that Faber was doing a good thing. I think it was bungled tremendously, and maybe if it was handled differently. I mean, Lego's like the Nintendo of toys. They're very overly protective of their IPs and kind of don't really give the fans what they want necessarily, even if it's completely inconsequential to their brand. Like, for example, Nintendo shuts down fan projects all the time that
Mm-hmm.
don't are for like their dead IPs, like Earthbound or F-Zero or something. And Lego does similar things as well. If something gets a little too close to the comfort zone for Lego, and even if it's for like a theme that doesn't exist anymore, they're kind of like, whoa, wait, hold up, that's ours. And for the most part, they're pretty good about it. Like, I know that they have the fair play policy, but this is, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this. Like, this, to me, it isn't a like. They're almost treating it like a leak, but it's not a leak for something that already exists and already is out and already started and concluded in the market. Like,
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
completely agree. I I really want to emphasize, like, yeah, like, I think all this stuff should already be public. Like, this shouldn't be a big deal that the stuff is coming out, like, at all. Like, I was not doing anything with it. There's no G3 as far as I know that's in the works, despite that old rumor from like a year and a half ago.
But even if there was a G3, this
Like,
is
they wouldn't be using
inconsequential
this.
to the
Yeah.
G3.
I know, like,
Yeah.
I saw some guy, like, I posted something on Instagram saying, like, just my very, very brief analysis and opinion of the situation. And someone responded to me saying that they completely agreed, and we're talking some more. And then they were like, well, like, they could use this for G3, and I'm like, okay, let's say that all these stories that are coming out now, like all these scrapped stories, are basically like 80 to 90% the exact same of what we already got. Like, just like a character is maybe named different. They're gonna use the god of the wind or something, like that's Matanui's dad, like that's from like the documents, like back when they were trying to really really lean into like the god factor, where all the Toamata were originally like gods, like the island, and like this kind of like stuff that got polished and refined over time. Like, they're not going to use those, and even if they were, like, it's like no one's going to care. Like, it's I don't know.
I'd also like to say the thing too, where kind of modern reboot culture is concerned. If Lego were to make a G3, especially considering that they fumbled the bag really hard with G2, they would probably play it super safe and basically give us exactly the same thing that we had before, but slightly different,
Yeah.
like story wise. I couldn't imagine, when people look at like these old concepts that were scrapped or, you know, really rough versions of whatever we had before. I cannot imagine that Lego would do something as bold as, unearth those and make that the new Bionicle, because that's not safe. That's an enormous risk for them. The
Hmm.
safe thing to do is, a quest for the masks, mysterious island god, which is kind of what they did with G2, but I think that they'd make it closer to G1, and by that I mean they just use more familiar names and write it a little bit more coherently.
Yeah, they wouldn't just use straight up villager,
No, they'd
protector.
they'd be like, look, guys, Matoran. Look, guys, Matt. It would be like a say the line, Bart.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
That's what a G3 would look like, and everybody can speculate this and that or the other. But the fact of the matter is, all of these like rough draft concepts, prototypes, etc., they are never going to be used for anything in any legitimate capacity again. If anything, the rough drafts for a G3 would just be whatever was polished and put out in G1.
Yeah,
That's yeah. So
exactly.
it's inconsequential to unless there is something deeply sensitive about the actual Lego development process, which isn't already public knowledge. Like, but is there though? That's the thing. Was there like anything that anybody picked up from this and was like, oh my goodness, that like is super revealing about Lego or something like
Oh
that?
no, no,
Yeah. So
like the images that were shown. I'll move on to like the talking about like the suspects and like how things went out and all that. But the actual pictures that were shown that got Lego's attention were the Glatorian prototypes, where Gresh basically looked the same. He had some extra pieces, and that was pretty much it. Gresh looks pretty much the exact same. Madanui was like slightly different. He had a little bit more black on him. His shoulder armor pieces were a little bit different. He had a staff blade kind of thing that looked really cool. I wish we got that. And like the shoulder mounted gun. Those were like the main things. And I guess like I don't really know how Lego got the attention of it, honestly. Like again, just cause like the Bionicle community, it's big, but it's not like the people who actually saw these and got like super excited about them is probably like I can count them on my hand. Like unless there's just some Lego employee like scrolling through Twitter or something, I really don't know how it got the attention of that, unless it was someone just DM them being like a stickler, being like they're leaking your info. And I will say, like the ones that like I don't think it's a coincidence that the ones that had like the confidentiality logo on them, like with like the if you remember like the G2 leaks or like just like a Lego leak in general, like they have a confidential watermark on them. Those ones almost immediately always like raise hell. Like Lego will go after you if you post anything that has like that logo on it, whether it's like an old picture or not. Uh, if you make a video about because I like back in the day, back when these were still relevant, like talking about like the G2 leaks, whether it was like 2015 or 2016, if you posted a video with that image, that prototype image with that watermark on it, Lego would like they could have taken down your channel. Like the Brick Show, they posted some leaks for another Lego theme, and their whole channel got deleted because of it. It's a pretty common practice, and again, I think all those like that stuff shouldn't matter anymore when it comes to leaks, because these are all old, like you said, all sold, all well done. Like everything's just on the secondhand market now. Like it doesn't matter anymore. Like I don't
it's
think that's a big deal.
ended.
Yeah, it's over.
There's no more Bionicle. It's over. All of the people who bought it purchased it already. All of the interest that there was in Bionicle is dwindled down to, I wouldn't even call the community big, like you just said. I'd refer to the Bionicle community more as like small but mighty. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
there is a sizable amount of people who love it, but like it is dwarfed by, other fandoms like Transformers or I don't know, Magic the Gathering or literally anything else. But like the people who love Bionicle really freaking love Bionicle.
yeah.
That's the difference. Like they're way into it. Like they eat it up. And I don't think I just speak for myself, but it's I don't know. So the appeal in itself is small. I don't know. It's weird that they'd cancel it. Like it feels very Nintendo-y to be like, oh, the fans got a bit of a bone, and to just rip the rug out from underneath them because but at the same time too, I don't want to sit here and sound like Lego's not entitled to do that. It
Yeah,
was their
well, I was gonna say, I was gonna shift gears and be like, I don't like the people that are blaming Lego for this. Like, I would like, I'm not blaming them. It's their property. They can legally do whatever they want with it. Should these be released? Yes. Should they have already been released? Hell yeah. Like, what are they saving them for a book or something? Like, they're not doing that. They're not doing anything like that. The
like
people who should be to blame for this are really, honestly, DuckBricks and Faber. And I think, like, people are kind of, like, afraid to, like, kind of talk about that. I see a lot of people that will talk about it on Twitter and then get, like, blocked. Like, they'll mention, like, they got blocked by DuckBricks is by saying that it was his fault for it happening. And it is his fault because I did some research beforehand, before I'm like gonna talk about someone like in this way. Not that I'm talking about anyone in an ill way. I'm just talking I'm just talking about like the facts purely. Um, I guess originally when he got all the stuff from Faber, he put a poll in his Discord server asking like if you would like it all in one video or like spread out. I guess like most people said spread out, but like the thing is like with the videos like that he has already released, that would be one freaking long ass video. That would happen to have been like a 12 plus hour video, and that's just like the stuff that he like if you want to like imagine like all the other stuff that he could have talked about, you probably easily could have made like a 5 hour video or a 10 hour video out of it, which is
mhm.
unrealistic. Not many people are going to watch that on like people will watch the Bionicle lore video for like memes, like just casual people, but no one's going to go out of their way to watch like a 5 or 10 hour video about Bionicle prototypes or scrap storylines, like unless they're like a diehard fan like me or you.
Yep.
So like that was just like I really feel like he would have just done them periodically anyway, just being honest. Like, and the thing is, like, when you're talking about these leaks, you're talking about, like, property that's not yours, specifically confidential stuff. You are monetizing them. And the reason why Faber hasn't really been talking about the stuff is, like, he spreads it out over time. Like you said, like, he did do some content farming. I have a lot of respect for what Christian Faber did with G1, but he kind of all what he does now is just, like if you look at some videos that he makes are a little bit clickbaity. Like I will say, like he talks
Yep.
like the secret behind, how it all ties in together. Every Lego theme. It's like you see, it's like this,
Mm,
this infinity loop. It's like, bro, you didn't make that. It's called fucking Lego. Like I'm
yeah,
sorry.
the
Like
thing is like that was a cool video, but it definitely was
yeah, it
clickbaity.
was
Like
super
if he
clickbaity.
was a little bit more, yeah, like I'm not sure if this made it in from like when we cut out for a second there, but like I also said that I have tremendous respect for
Yeah, no, I
Christian
heard
Faber.
everything you said. Like you haven't cut up for me.
Yeah.
I guess I was cutting out on your end. Um,
Uh,
but yeah,
yeah, but like he just he he had the way that he kind of operates his YouTube channel is very much in line with what I would imagine just like a 3 a.m. challenge, kind of YouTuber does, where they're just like, is the or like a maybe that's not the best example, like a Five Nights at Freddy's theorist, who's like, have we finally solved Golden Freddy? And then
exactly, yeah.
you watch the video and they haven't actually really said anything that is substantial about
Yeah, it's
Golden
just a bunch
Freddy,
of
or
bullshit.
it's just it's either just a bunch of bullshit or it's something that we already know, or it's a neat idea, but it's basically what Matt Pat said. And like
Yeah. Eh,
I want to circle back to the Lego thing real quick as well. Like Lego, the way that I look at this is like I'm not in love with the fact that Lego kiboshed all of this. 100% it is within their rights to do so, though. But I feel like why a lot of people are blaming Lego versus like DuckBricks and Faber is Lego's more like an entity than a personality, if that makes any sense. Like it's a lot easier to get angry at the big, monolithic corporation that is taking your precious Bionicle away from you versus, the guy who helped make it and the guy who's bringing it to the audience. Because like
Yeah.
Faber bricks are like they're people, they're personalities, they have a face. Lego doesn't have a face. It's a lot easier to get pissed at something, especially something that's like corporate, because like nobody likes corporations for
Yeah,
the
no
most
one likes
part.
corporate. Yeah.
No, nobody likes corporations. And as much as I hate to say it, Lego is in the right.
Yeah, like
Lego didn't
they're
Lego
in the
didn't do
right.
anything wrong.
I honestly think that they wouldn't have paid attention to any of this if like these were just all, like if it was just all released at once and you didn't have to make a monetization like video on it every single fucking week or whatever. They would not have cared. And I think the issue that they took with that, I mean, like obviously they didn't release a statement or anything. You can only theorize it, but when you're releasing this periodically, there's a higher chance this is going to come up on some Lego employee like legal teams like things being like, yeah, someone's talking about like old confidential documents that have a big confidential watermark on them. Like, yeah, like you're gonna raise an eyebrow over there and the legal team's gonna look at it, and what do you think's gonna happen? Like, and then they're like, yeah, well, you've been periodically releasing this stuff and making videos on it, monetizing them, talking about our product and things that we have not revealed just because we chose not to, and you're exposing us. They have the right to say no. You can't do that. And also, like DuckBricks did not need to be like the leading man, being like, yeah, I'm revealing all this stuff that Christian Faber has. Like Christian Faber, I can tell that he was careful about releasing stuff back when he was doing like the Taraga files and things like that. I think he was still careful about all that stuff when like he was periodically releasing them in like micro doses. Like I think the biggest like clickbait thing he's ever done was like the G3 like thing that people thought it was gonna be like
Oh,
it was the B shaped or the 3 shaped B for bio
yeah,
and Bionicle. Like
and
that was
then it
clickbait, blue balls.
wasn't it like crypto or something at the end as well. It was like
I have no
it
idea, but
was yeah, it was something that pissed off a lot of fans because like the thing about Faber is like I said, he's really well intentioned. I think that and it's hard to watch a video of his where you're not like this is like a sweet middle-aged man who obviously loves what he does. Obviously he loves Bionicle. Obviously he loves the fans, but
yeah.
it also it comes off as very like we gotta farm the views. The
Yeah,
views are all that matter.
it's like I'm known for the one thing. And again, like I like the guy. I like that he is trying to have a relationship with the fans. I like that. But dude, it was like it ended like G1 ended like you stopped getting paid for this stuff like back in 2010 or maybe even before that. Like it's time to like move on to something else. Like but you're just gonna keep talking about it. Clearly, it's like the thing that you're known for. It's the thing that like keeps getting you work, which is cool and all that. I think that's cool to put on like your resume, but you're kind of keep talking about like the same stuff over and over again, and then, like you give like a droplet of like, oh yeah, here's some old concept, which is cool. I like seeing his old concept. I like seeing like all his old stuff that he puts on there, but then you obviously it's not the intention to make the stuff public when you're going to one of the biggest Lego YouTubers and being like, yeah, let's like make it on here so we can collect the ad revenue on it. I mean, like, I'm approaching this right now from like a very like nihilistic point of view. I understand that, but it just rubs me the wrong way when you're trying to just keep like making videos and stuff all on this one thing, which you could have made videos on it. That's not my problem. It's like actually like talking about it in like a video. It's just the fact that you're like periodically releasing this stuff, which like to coordinate with your video releases, which is to get you more clicks and ad revenue. That's the truth. That's just what is happening. I don't know who's collecting the money, whether it's DuckBricks or Faber, or maybe they're both in on it. I don't know. But I just think that they should have released all this at once, so you would have avoided this issue. Because like the thing is like the reason why I'm a little bit mad is because in DuckBricks' statement he basically said the only thing I regret is that I didn't post more before this happened. I'm like, okay, like that sounds kind of funny, but I'm also like, okay, so why didn't you? Because like the people that will go out of their way to find these old docs are like crazy like Bionicle super fans, which there's a very small percentage of like that would actually want to see like the prototypes and all that. Like to look at like themselves, like looking at it and coming to their own conclusions on it, versus like watching your video where that more people would be more willing to watch that versus like actually going out and finding the old prototype information, reading through all the documents and all that. You could have just posted all the documents, posted all the photos. Most people are not going to read the documents. You can make the videos on the documents and put, the photos in there if LEGO doesn't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I taking crazy pills? Am I going on a rant or something? Like, I don't know.
So I think that the fact that DuckBricks even had to put a poll out, like you said in his Discord, to say, should I release this all at once or in video or in separate videos, is very telling on its own, because
if that was just to cover his ass.
It's like if preservation really mattered to him first over content, it wouldn't have even been a question. It would have been, here's a Google Docs folder full of all of it, and it's out there, and he still could have, farmed his engagement out of it with, the perfectly timed 15 to 20 minute videos for that sweet YouTube ad revenue that everybody just clamors to get. But he still could have also done the right thing by the community. It's being somebody in the video game collecting world, this is all very like familiar.
Yeah.
This is not something like super uncommon with video game preservation, where somebody will get a hold of like a prototype to an NES game or something, and then they do something that is so like nakedly clout chasing about it. Like, you're kind of just like, all right, do you care about views more than the history of it, or like do you care about the views more? Because everybody's out to get their YouTube ad revenue, because if you think about it, I know that one giant video on all of this would not have been practical. I'm saying like releasing documents would have been, because then it could have been like distilled onto Reddit or the BSO1 or whatever, and then make your videos about it. But it's when people like figureheads like this in these kind of communities get a hold of something exclusive, and the way that they choose to like either drip feed it or withhold it from other people is kind of crazy. Like I said, in the video game world, for example, you'll see people get like a prototype of some game, and then they get it graded. Like, bruh, that doesn't that's like a monetary thing,
Yeah.
And I do want to say that views and engagement is a monetary thing. I've taken quite a few classes on digital marketing in the program that I'm in, and like what it all boils down to is how many eyes can you get watching the video, so how many people can advertise on your video so that you can maximize your profit,
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes down to. It comes down to, hey, how can I make money on this? And I'm sure that there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, oh, well, it's DuckBricks' job to make money off of this. It's like, yeah, but when it comes to something like this that is so niche, is so specific, and is so treasured by such like a small group of people, let's say, just do the right thing and just release it. That'll buy you as well. If you're looking for clout, that will buy you a ton of respect from that community, like, as well.
Everyone would be bowing down to you. You'd be like, oh, thank you. I'd be like, hey, thank you, almighty DuckBricks, for releasing this stuff. Thank you for convincing Christian Faber to finally drop everything and just like let us see everything. Like, that's cool. But no, he had to take the I gotta make money approach, which is like, listen, he barely makes like, if you look at like the amount of Bionicle videos he makes compared to like Lego videos, it's like 90% Lego videos. So like 1 in every 10 is like a Bionicle video. Like, I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't have been like a big loss if he just was like, yeah, this is just either all in one video, or I'm periodically releasing stuff that's not my property. And
DuckBricks knows Bionicle gets him views, though. Like,
yeah, it does.
If we're comparing DuckBricks, for example, to another YouTuber, let's compare him to Game Theory. All right, Game Theory releases, or at least when MatPat was around. I don't know what New Game Theory does. They probably do the same thing. No shade to New Game Theory, but like, they release theories on all kinds of games, but they make sure like you said, every 10 videos to like weasel in a Five Nights at Freddy's video, because they know that even if they kind of say nothing about it, that rakes in a ton of views. And that's kind of what DuckBricks does with Bionicle. Like he'll kind of throw it into like a title or something. Like I'm even looking on his page right now under
I'm
like
looking at his most popular videos.
under
Bionicle doesn't make the top 5. Like,
I'm just looking at his latest videos though, and he's got this one called Newy Ventures. Like, come on.
is that the combined two
Yeah,
sets one? Or is that the other one?
that's the Newy Ventures. But I'm saying in the description says this doesn't have a ton to do specifically with Lego, but it's a massive project that I'm working on. It's name dropping Bionicle without name dropping Bionicle, because he knows that it will get him views. Like, he knows that it gets a lot of views.
But if you look at his other content, it doesn't have as much views as the other content. Like the video before that, eating official like. Okay, that's pretty funny. It has like 5,000 more views. If you look at the next one, same thing, 5,000 more views. And you just look at all this stuff, and like, yeah, like for this Lego Star Wars red carpet premiere one, it's equal to that. Like there's still like a market in there for Bionicle content for sure, but like all this other stuff dwarfs the Bionicle stuff, which I think you kind of tells because like the only time he really talks about Bionicle is when he's trying to sell something or when he's having I shouldn't say canon, but like a fanon contest. But yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah, but like I know what you mean. Like I think that's how it used to be. I think maybe earlier in his channel's career, I think that's definitely how it was. I think now it's just like, oh yeah, I got like a good amount of Bionicle fans, so now I gotta like, talk about it here and there. And I do think he is passionate about Bionicle. Like,
that's not in question. He absolutely is.
I know. I'm just throwing that. I'm just throwing that in there to cover my ass in case of some in the comment sections tells me otherwise. Like, but like, yeah, like I know he likes Bionicle. I'm allowed to give someone shit for being a dumbass. Like I don't know. I don't really have too much to say left on this. It's just like what he did was dumb, and I think more people should stop blaming Lego and like realize like that's just like it's a corporate thing. It's not like it's not like the CEO of Lego is like, we hate Bionicle, stop all Bionicle content right now. Like it's just like the way that these corporations work.
And a lot of Bionicle fans will have you believe that's the case though.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I'm ready for that.
Yes.
But like
they hate us and we're underserved.
Yeah, which I mean, like, yeah, you can make the argument all you want, but it's like at the end of the day, like any corporation would have done this. Even Sega, who's like super like fan project like friendly, who's like very loose with their IPs, like letting the Sonic community do basically whatever they want with the IP. Like if something like this came out where it had like confidentiality watermarks and like the contracts weren't up yet to to have that like be do whatever you want with type of thing, like which is my understanding with these, like their contracts weren't up yet. Like that's what Faber said to DuckBricks. Apparently it's like, yeah, I thought that these were long like expired or whatever, but I guess not. They like Sega would take down that stuff because it's not stuff that they want out in the public. It's just simple as that. I mean, like all it takes is for some guy on the legal team to be like, hey, all right, this is today's job, and that's it. Like,
I think that we should mention as well, because I'm looking at the Reddit screenshot of DuckBricks' message in his Discord page. Apparently, Advance also had an issue with it. And for those of you who might not know, you know what Advance is, right?
In what way?
So Advance is the company that Christian Faber was never actually a employee of Lego.
Oh,
he wasn't like Greg, where Greg worked for Lego. Christian Faber worked for Advance, who was often contracted by Lego. So Advance is like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not too like familiar with what they do. They're like a design firm, like a graphic design firm. So that's because when you see a lot of the Faber stuff where Bionicle is concerned, a lot of it is like concept art and this and that and the other, and that tracks for what they would have done at Advance. But just reading his DuckBricks' post here, he says, we have learned this morning at 6 a.m. that not only is there a Lego issue, there's also an Advance issue, and Lego needs every file shared related to the development taken down, yada yada yada. So
yeah,
I mean, I guess this also everybody's giving Lego shit. Why is nobody giving Advance shit?
Yeah, exactly. It's
It's
just, yeah.
it's crazy, but I guess it's also because like when you think of Advance, you think, oh, it's a small company. Christian, you think of Christian Faber as the head of it. Lego, the fact, Ben, that you said a little while ago, oh, Lego CEO, when you were
Oh yeah,
hyperbolically saying, oh, Lego CEO hates us or whatever. The fact that you couldn't name drop the CEO of Lego
exactly, yeah.
is telling, and the fact that I can't name drop the CEO of Lego is also telling, because to me that really just paints Lego as this just faceless corporation that it's really easy to get mad at somebody when you can't put a face to the name.
Yeah.
And that's where this is coming from. And I guess Advance has a little bit more of a face than Lego does,
Yeah,
to the people who
does.
know, and that face is Faber.
Yeah.
So cuz like it's hard to be mad at Faber. I don't know. He seems like a really nice, genuine man. Like every time I see him speak, when he's not doing something that's frustrating, like the B13, whatever that thing he was doing in like 2020 that was pissing Meso off.
Yeah, yeah. That pissed me off too. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I get
that
Meso's
was...
crap all the time, but I mean, like, hey, I'm on Meso's side of that one.
Yeah, Meso knew what was up with that one. And like Faber, yeah, that was, but even when he does that, even when he's kind of being like frustrating, you still look at Faber and you're like, there is sincerity behind his voice. You can feel that there's sincerity behind his voice. I think that's why that truly is why nobody's like, oh man, I can't believe that Faber would, release these confidential things only for them to be pulled out of the rug from us by Lego. It's
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just more so like, again, it's just my only issue with Faber, because again, like, I do have a lot of respect for him. I do like him. My only issue is just like the periodically releasing stuff for views thing and launching it under a bigger YouTube channel. Like I'm sure it was well intentioned, but I think there was also a little bit of like, oh well, let's have this guy, Mr. Hype Beast Lego, quote unquote community leader, talk about this. And this is talk about the community leader BS thing. This is more so like a point that I have that's like really, that rubs me the wrong way every time I see someone refer to a big channel in any fandom as like a community leader. There is no president of Bionicle fans, there's no, like, there is no King of the Morons, there is no any of that. That's all a bunch of bullshit that like originated when, in terms of Bionicle, was when the TTV were trying to take ownership of the fandom, which was fucking stupid. That was like just really, really dumb. And there are still people that claim that they have some type of part in that. And then there's people that try to put this label onto newer channels such as DuckBricks or like other people. Like, when I saw something, when there was something that went down, I'm gonna be super vague here just because like I don't want to like talk shit about anyone I know. When something went down in the Bionicle community about a year and a half ago, there was an accident of some sort, and like it was just someone basically said like, I'm gonna go to the council of the community leaders to see how we should go about this. Like, bro, it was an accident that has nothing to do with Bionicle. I can go about that however I like. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's
council of... Can you imagine? Okay, like, I just want to put this into perspective here to just make sure that I'm not taking crazy pills.
Yeah, okay.
Bionicle is a dead franchise. It is a toy for, children and teens primarily. And then I don't want to discredit anybody who's an adult and likes Bionicle. I mean, like, I'm past the midpoint of my 20s and I still like Bionicle. Like what you like, man. That's great. If you like something, more power to you. But the fact of the matter is that is its demographic. It blows my mind that there are a bunch of people who feel so entitled to a dead toy IP, who sit around their computers like, there's some kind of cult, Illuminati, being like, of course, we are the council of the nerds. Like, even just calling yourself the council, like,
that's
come
so
on, man.
Stupid.
Like that, like when you said we're gonna talk about cringe, that is lethal cringe. And the thing is I don't like throwing around the word cringe lightly. Like there's a lot of things that are cringe, but like what actually makes me cringe is when I get like secondhand embarrassment from liking something, and when I hear a bunch of people parading around that they're like the council or whatever about Bionicle, I'm like, oh my god, guys, come on. And I feel like I heard Meso and LJ on a Knack and J kind of touch on the council, and that's where I got it from. And they're like, well, we don't really like own the community or whatever. We're more just like, big players in the community. It's like, I think that a community can have influential people in it. And I would hazard to say DuckBricks and even the TTV are, influential people in the community. They have made an impact on the community.
Yeah.
They have done something that has resonated through the community. They are known, and I think that what makes you an influential member of the community is you have to make an impact, and I should put this out there, a positive impact. Because
that's up to debate.
As much as we kind of clown on the TTV, in my opinion at least, I think that they've done some positive things.
Oh yeah, they have done some. Yeah, for sure.
I think that they've done some positive things, and I think overall their impact on the community has been good. Just don't look at it too close with like a microscope. Yeah. And that's like the same with DuckBricks. Like overall he is an influential member, but like people who treat him or like the TTV as like the CEO of the Bionicle fandom, it's like,
so dumb.
Nah, dude. There is no CEO. This is a dead franchise. No, yeah. we're all man children and probably a few lady children. Like,
yeah, it's Bionicle is a good, diverse fan group, and there is no leader of it. Like, it's just as simple as that. And also, I do want to throw in, like, other fandoms do not have lists either. Like, no matter what way people try to put it, people have tried to put labels onto people, but it's just simply like not true. Like, you look at the Star Wars community. There are no.
Somebody said they were the CEO or like the Council of Star Wars.
That. My God, that person would immediately like, I don't know, like their dislikes would go up 99%, if not to 100. Like, holy fuck. But like, there is no like Mr. Star Wars or President Star Wars of like the fan group. Like, that's just, there's no president of the fan club. It's just there's no president of the fan club for anything. It's just as simple as that. It's just we gotta stop treating people like they're gods or kings or whatever the hell you want to like royalty, just because they get views or have subscribers. Like, they are another normal regular person like you and me who has the same interest. That's it. Like, the interests may vary, the interest levels may vary, of course, but like, we are just a human being that just, you and I are human beings that just like Bionicle. And if you don't like Bionicle, then we're just both human beings at the end of the day. Like, that's what it is. There's no difference other than the side that I like something that you don't, or vice versa. Like, it's fine. And yeah, I don't know. It's my biggest pet peeve. I kind of threw that one in there a bit like late into the game, but I feel like it was just bugging me so much. It's like, it was just burning in my brain. It literally like that interaction that I had just lives like rent free in my brain. I was like, oh my god, no. This is so cringe. Like, fuck, I have to tell someone about this, and I finally am. So it's like, so yeah, it was so bad. But
so the moral of the story, dear viewer, nobody is the CEO of Bionicle.
No one is the CEO of Bionicle.
There are only false prophets.
Yeah.
But Bionicle is something that I think is owned by the fans now, but is owned by nobody. Like, it's owned by the fans in the sense that we keep it alive, and we are the ones who, kind of steward it in the way that we're like, oh, it's awesome, and look at all of our cool mocks, and every so often somebody like DuckBricks, he bungled this. Yeah, but like the council. Ugh, but like we I guess what I'm saying is we all collectively own Bionicle.
Yeah.
No, there's no one person or no one stupid council. I mean, and like the people who are on the council too, I'm sure that, and I'm not saying that everybody's impact on the community is equal. It sure as hell isn't. I mean, like,
No.
this is the most active I have ever been in the community, being a fan since 2002.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, I have just as much of an impact as Meso does. You know, Meso has done way more stuff for the community than I ever have and ever will.
Yeah. No.
But what I'm trying to say is, like, because Meso has done that, or, you know, because DuckBricks is doing stuff with Faber, or, you know, because he does the fanning contest, doesn't mean that he has more authority over what makes Bionicle great or who owns Bionicle than either of us do.
Mm-hmm.
Or anybody does, even the person who doesn't do anything with Bionicle and just enjoys making mocks and listening to Bionicle-related stuff and blasting Bionicle music, like the, you know, the Cryo Shell stuff, watching the movies. I don't know, just literal randos.
Yeah.
We all own it.
Yeah, man.
So,
I mean, like, yeah, like we're the ones keeping it alive and all that. Sometimes drama is what's helping keep it alive, but like, hey, I mean, it's keeping it alive.
That's the other thing too. I like, again, people, this is a dead toy franchise. There's no reason to do drama, and I guess that's antithetical to what this video is. But like, you know, the only drama, at least on my end, is where this is concerned, and the DuckBricks thing is concerned, is like the fact that he didn't release it all at once is just so like nakedly view farming. And
Yeah.
I myself personally am very cynical where influencers and content creators are concerned. Like I'm not gonna mince my words. They bother me, straight up.
Yeah,
Like,
it's. I think I've been pretty transparent throughout this whole episode about how I feel about it. It's just
and like, yeah, like it is, and and that's kind of the big problem that I have with it is it's too naked in its we have to game the algorithm.
Yeah, it's like
because
gotta get the algorithm of the 100 Bionicle fans left in my local 80 kilometers or 80 miles or whatever. It's like, come on, bro.
But you know, not everything needs to game the algorithm. We don't.
No, man. I mean, like, if it's something cool, if it's something that is important, people will find it. You don't need to be like Mr. Hype Beast, Mr. like, yo, look at this, look what I'm revealing. Subscribe and like every single video so I keep showing off Bionicle content. Don't forget to smash that motherfucking like button.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Click like and comment, everybody. And you know what? This time we're gonna release another video with DuckBricks' face in the thumbnail with his mouth open, being like, Bionicle leak gone wrong?
Oh, gone sexual.
Gone sexual 6 a.m. challenge? Lego tried to take this video down. You know, like,
I did an overnight challenge at Lego in the catacombs to steal the old sets.
I mean, like, okay, we're kind of memeing on DuckBricks right here.
He's not. I mean, hey, man. I mean,
he's not that bad. But
no,
like,
he's not. He's in the roast chair. I'm gonna take advantage of it. I mean, like, hey, if anyone's in the roast chair, they gotta get their dues.
But like at the root of it, like, and at the root of those videos, you know, where you get those people who are like, today we're gonna be calling Mickey Mouse at 3 a.m. on FaceTime, and 3 like at the root of it, this is the same issue that it is with DuckBricks, and at that root of it is content, engagement, watch time, advertising revenue, and it sucks that stands in the way of a historical preservation for the community. And that's all it comes down to, because if that was never a factor, he never would have asked how we should release it, and he just would have released it.
Here's the winner of the fan contest, Toa 2 yet. By the way, you can buy her mask on my shop.
Yeah, don't forget to check out our merch store and donate to our Patreon and follow me on Twitch.
Buy my raw resin prints that are unpainted and are unrefined.
Just give me all of your money. You know, it's I definitely, you know, deserve it. So anyways, viewers, don't forget to subscribe to Ben's channel and donate to him on Patreon. And
Yeah, no, you'll see all the exclusive videos of me talking about Lego leaks that are talked about by DuckBricks and how I think that's dumb.
have we finally solved DuckBricks?
Yeah. Oh god, the fact that this is like the only video talking about this is gonna cause trouble.
No,
I'm gonna end it later. I'm gonna end it later.
Or have done something like this.
Yeah.
You know? But like I used to meat ride the shit out of the TTV, and you know they definitely had an episode where they were like, is it clickbait if we like mention it to some extent? And it's like, well, I think that it is if you don't like dive into it. I mean, if you know in like an hour podcast, if you talk about Bionicle for 10 minutes and then like literally something else for the other 50, that was an exaggeration before somebody digs it up on me and is like, oh, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Hyperbole, but yeah, I would constitute that as clickbait technically, and it's
baitin'.
Yep.
Master baitin', if you will.
Yep. It's welcome to the world that we live in, folks. Don't forget to smash that like button.
Don't forget to smash that motherfucking like button and subscribe to Ignition Zone. Right,
and ring that bell so you get all your notifications.
Drama? We're now a drama channel.
Don't phone Makuta Pterodax at 3 a.m. Gone wrong, gone sexual.
Gone wrong, gone sexual. Look what Rudaka texted me at 4 a.m.